So now I'm going to demonstrate how to garble herbs. And garbling is the term that we use to describe the process of breaking down dried plant material, stripping leaves from stems, for example. And today we're garbling raspberry leaf, red raspberry leaf. So I have dried raspberry leaf here. And I know that this raspberry leaf is dried because when I take a leaf, it snaps really easily. So there's no bend or flexibility to it, which would indicate there's still moisture in the plant. So I take my dry, crispy raspberry leaves, and what I want to do is I want to separate the leaf from the stem. The leaf is the medicinal part of the plant that I want to have. The stems are, comparatively speaking, much lower in active constituents than the leaves are. So I want as much leaf material and as little stem material as possible so that the resulting medicine is at its peak in terms of potency. So it's very simple to garble plants. I do recommend having a sturdy pair of gloves so that your hands aren't irritated by sharp, pokey bits. Raspberry leaf, the stems are covered in prickles, so I want to protect my hands from that. So a good pair of gloves. If you only have a small amount of plant material, you can strip into a large bowl or basket. If you have a larger amount of plant material, I'll demonstrate how I use this hardware cloth in a frame to quickly garble and process larger amounts of herbs. For a small amount of material, I take my dried plant matter and my bowl or basket, and with my gloved hands, I just simply strip the leaves from the stems. I inspect my plant matter, and if there's anything that looks discolored or bug-eaten, then I don't include that in my final product. And then I have a bare stalk and stem, and this material I compost. So for a small amount of raspberry leaf, it's quite simple to take your dried raspberry leaves and strip them into a bowl or a basket. For a larger amount of plant material, if you have a large volume to process, stripping that way can be quite time consuming. So what I have here is a wooden frame with hardware cloth. And this hardware cloth, I take my plant material and I rub it back and forth over the hardware cloth, and you can see it strips my stalks and stems really quickly. I might take another just quick pass with my hands, and there I have my bare plant material. This method is very quick, but you do sometimes get a little bit more stem material. And so what I do is I just do a few passes afterwards and again go through and pick out anything that I don't want in my final product. Now underneath this hardware cloth I have a clean sheet, and the plant material is dropping down below. So then I just take handfuls and run it back and forth over the hardware cloth. If I were doing large amounts, particularly if I were indoors, I would be wearing a mask because garbling produces quite a bit of particulate matter in the air. And if you're only doing a small amount occasionally, there's no concern there. But if you end up garbling large volumes of plant material, that particulate matter can get into your lungs. So I do recommend wearing a good quality mask when you're garbling, especially if you're garbling indoors. We're outside on a beautiful sunny day with a lovely breeze, so I'm not too concerned. Once you've finished garbling your herbs, in this case here, I take the corners of my sheet and just bring all of the plant material to the edge and carefully and gently shake it out into a large basket or bowl. Then I do one more pass to pull out any bits of stem or stalk material that made its way in. But essentially, this freshly garbled raspberry leaf is now ready to be put into a jar. I use glass mason jars. And then I would label this, and it's ready to make a delicious tea. And that's how we garble.